Wife reveals incredible discovery. 7 hidden children claiming her ex's life-changing estate. This headline tore through the internet, leaving people gasping, but for Sarah Thompson, 35, it was simply her life. Late one Saturday morning, surrounded by half-open boxes and the echoes of a life ripped apart, Sarah stumbled across an old trunk tucked beneath a dusty blanket in the attic. The familiar scent of cedar hit her hard, taking her back to when she and Mike were young and full of dreams. But dreams faded. Mike's sudden passing had left her a single mother, struggling to fill the void while juggling 2 jobs to provide for her children. Luke and M.I.A.S. She pried open the trunk. Her heart raced. Inside, a stack of letters sat, weathered and yellowed with age. Each envelope bore Mike's handwriting, and as her fingers trembled, she untied the brittle twine and unfolded the first letter. Confusion danced with disbelief. "To my dearest children," it began, but it didn't. Stop there. Named were 7 concealed children from past relationships, each claiming a piece of a legacy she thought was solely hers and her children's. Her pulse quickened as the weight of betrayal draped over her like a heavy cloak. Anger bubbled beneath her calm exterior. Loyal to a fault, she never imagined her life would morph into a tangled web of forgotten siblings and unfulfilled promises. Tears filled her eyes as she read through each letter, discovering names and stories of lives she never knew existed. Each sibling played a distinct role in a life led far from hers, woven together by shared blood but shattered by absence. A gust of wind whistled through the open window, as if echoing her restless thoughts. This was beyond chaos. Fueled by a mix of curiosity and a sense of duty, Sarah resolved to find them. The following weeks morphed into a journey across small towns that felt achingly familiar. Each visit felt like stepping back into a scene from a forgotten movie. She met veterans wrestling with their demons, widowed parents bringing light to dark days, and leaders igniting sparks of hope in dusty communities. With every encounter, their struggles resonated with her own, revealing that resilience is stitched into the fabric of every family. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. But with each sibling she reached out to, tension brewed. Gossip flared in her neighborhood. Whispers painted her as relentless, painted her as someone chasing Mike's inheritance rather than seeking family. The stakes rose. Friends became skeptical, accusing her of using these lost bonds to claim a fortune. Pain and compassion twisted within her, and even amid this storm, she began to understand. Family isn't just about blood. It's shaped by connection and love, to a notion that felt oddly empowering yet deeply unsettling. That on the cusp of a pivotal family meeting. The atmosphere felt electric, teetering on the edge of hope and despair. Just then, a notification pinged on her phone. One of those hidden siblings wanted nothing to do with her or the estate and threatened legal action. The color drained from Sarah's face, her heart racing as uncertainty wove itself around her. Was she ready to tear down the walls of her life to build something new? The question hung in the air like heavy fog, with answers just as elusive. Sarah stared at her phone, the notification glaring back at her. A message from Ashley, one of the siblings she had reached out to. The words felt like ice water rushing down her spine. "I don't want anything to do with you. Stay away from me and my children." It stung. She had hoped to connect, to form some bond with these lost pieces of Mike's life. But instead, she felt closed out. The door slammed in her face. Her heart raced as she fumbled with the phone, unsure whether to reply or just let it go. But deep down, she couldn't ignore the fire of determination that sparked within her. This wasn't just about the estate. It was about understanding who Mike had been and how their lives had intersected, however briefly. "Mom," Luke called from downstairs, the sound pulling her out of the storm of emotions swirling in her head. "Can we go to the park?" She took a deep breath, a sweet but bittersweet relief washing over her as she joined her son's eagerness. Life couldn't pause, no matter how heavy the burdens felt. "Sure, honey. Just give me a minute." Quickly, she slid her phone into her pocket, pushed thoughts of Ashley aside, and made her way downstairs. Mia was perched on a kitchen stool, munching on a cookie, her blue eyes bright with excitement. "Can we feed the ducks too?" "Absolutely," Sarah replied, forcing a smile as she ruffled Mia's hair. The park was their escape, a place where the world simplified itself into trees, grass, and the joyful cries of her kids. But as they arrived, the shadows of the past crept in, mingling with the laughter around them. The park. The sun cast long silhouettes as they walked along the path. Voices they passed laughed and played, blending into an endless background of joy. Yet, Sarah's heart felt heavy with a new kind of worry. She held back some of the burdens of her quest. The stress of his hidden legacy, shouldered alongside her responsibilities, felt too overwhelming for her kids. "Look, ducks!" Luke shouted, darting ahead. As they neared the pond, Sarah's mind flicked back to the harsh words sent from Ashley. It was just one voice in a sea of potential. Surely, not all of Micah's hidden children would be so hostile. After feeding the ducks, Mia tugged at her hand, pulling her back to reality. "Mom, can we go on the swing?" "Of course." As she pushed Mia higher, the girl squealed with delight, her laughter ringing like music in the open air. Sarah savored the moment, wishing the joy could stifle the nagging uncertainty. Could she ever heal this fractured family? Or would hostility define their connections going forward? Later that evening, while the kids were washing up for bed, she found herself scrolling through social media absent-mindedly. Various articles about the estate were trending, people discussing Mike's hidden life, as if it were a sensational soap opera. It made her stomach turn. When did her life become fodder for strangers? Suddenly, she noticed a new message appear on her screen, a request from another sibling, this one named Gabe. Hesitation clawed at her, but curiosity bit deeper. Her fingers hovered over the screen. What would he say? Would he accept her outreach, or would he join the chorus of rejection? With her heart racing once more, she opened the message. "We need to talk, Sarah, about Mike and about everything." A new blend of fear and hope flooded Sarah. Was this Gabe's way of building a bridge, or tear her down even further? Whatever awaited her in this conversation could change everything. Her breath caught. What was lying within that tangled legacy waiting to be uncovered? Whatever the answer, there was no turning back now. The truth was calling her, daring her to step into the storm. Sarah's heart pounded as she read Gabe's message again. "We need to talk." The words felt heavy, loaded with promise and peril. What if he rejected her too? The lump in her throat grew more pronounced. She reasoned with herself there was no harm in replying. With a deep breath, she typed back, "When and where?" The reply came almost immediately. "How about tomorrow at noon? I can meet you at the coffee shop on Main Street." That felt manageable. She imagined the buzzing cafe, the smell of fresh coffee mingling with anxiety. Her mind raced with possibilities. Would he be open? Would he have stories about Mike that could bridge the gap she felt so keenly? "Okay, see you then," she sent, her fingers trembling as she hit send. The rest of the evening dragged. She tucked the kids in bed and finally allowed herself to feel the weight of the day. Ashamed, she wondered if her pursuit was selfish. Were her children supposed to bear the strain of her discoveries? She wanted them to believe in family and connections, and here she was trying to scrape at a past that felt buried. That night, dreams came in flashes, a mix of laughter, unanswered questions, and the unsettling warmth of hope. She saw Mike's face, smiling down at her, somehow urging her forward. Morning dawned bright but anxious. She occupied herself with mundane chores. Every tick of the clock pushed her toward noon, and soon she was sitting in her favorite booth at the cafe, hands wrapped around a steaming cup. The chatter around her felt like a sea, waves of voices crashing against her nerves. Just as she began to wonder if he'd bail, Gabe strolled in. He was tall and had Mike's curly hair, but that's where the resemblance faded. His posture was guarded, his expression unreadable. "Sarah?" he asked, scanning the room, his voice tentative but steady. "That's me," she replied, trying to match his fortitude. She gestured to the seat across from her. As he sat, she sensed the tension between them, a mixture of familiarity and estrangement. "Thanks for coming," she started, her voice breaking slightly. "I just wanted to listen," Gabe interrupted. "Before we dive into all of this, I need to be clear. I'm not like Ashley. I don't want any drama. But we need to figure out what is going on with our dad's estate and these kids." "Mike's kids," she corrected softly, testing the waters. "Yeah, and I think you have a right to know." Her breath caught. "What do you mean?" He leaned in closer, dropping his voice as if to shield their conversation from eavesdroppers. "There's more to this than just the estate. I think it's bigger than any money or property." A zing of electricity shot through her. She wanted to scream at him to spit it out, but she held back, waiting for the next piece of this wild puzzle. "Some of us grew up with stories of our dad that don't quite match what you've been told. Someone is hiding something important," Gabe continued. Her stomach knotted. She was about to unearth something monumental. Was it even wise to dig deeper? "What do you mean by stories?" Gabe hesitated, his eyes darting nervously around the cafe. There was talk of another family, secrets. The sunlight streaming through the window dimmed in her vision as she processed what he was saying. "What kind of secrets? Like what?" She pressed, leaning in. Gabe opened his mouth, but then was cut off by the doorbell ringing, signaling the arrival of a new customer. "Can you hang tight?" he asked. "This is important." Sarah's heart raced. Had she stumbled onto a thread that could unravel everything? She nodded, but inside her confusion twisted into a cocktail of thrill and dread. What secrets awaited? And what impact would they have on her children? The stakes had just risen, and she was all in. As they sat in the cafe, surrounded by the routine clatter of coffee cups and soft conversations, Sarah felt the air shift. Whatever Gabe was about to reveal could turn her world upside down. What if those secrets led her closer to understanding the man Mike had been and the family he had left behind? But what if it drove her further apart from them? "All?" Gabe looked at her, eyes filled with urgency. "We have to talk about Mike and the hidden truths that could change everything." The moment hung between them like a thick fog, pressing in on Sarah as she waited for Gabe to continue. His hesitation felt like a thunderclap in the silence. Each second stretched, a mix of fear and anticipation filling the air. "What secrets?" she finally managed, her voice low and steady. She wasn't prepared for what he would say next, but curiosity slammed against her doubts like a wave. Gabe drew a deep breath, his fingers nervously tracing the edge of the table. "There were names, Sarah. Names we weren't supposed to know." "Names? Of who?" "Half-siblings," he said slowly, testing the weight of the word which hung like a lead balloon. "People our dad had in his life, after he left your family." Shock swept through her, leaving her momentarily speechless. A part of her yearned to believe this was a mistake or a cruel joke. "How many?" she whispered, clutching her coffee cup so tightly her knuckles paled. "We think at least 3, but there could be more." Her heart sank. Could Mike have had another life that she never knew about? The realization churned inside her. Could these siblings know things about him that she never discovered? But why? Why hide this? She asked, her voice rising a bit. She felt the warmth of the cafe around her tighten, spinning into something alien. Gabe leaned back, his expression a mix of frustration and resignation. "I don't know. Maybe he was trying to protect us, or maybe he just didn't want to face it himself. There's a lot of history there." His words sank deep into her. History. It smothered her in uncertainty. "But why now? Why tell me this?" "I think it's time for the truth to come out. The estate, it's more complicated than anyone knows. And if someone else is claiming a share, it could affect everything." Sarah felt the weight of his gaze. It was piercing, filled with a blend of determination and fear. "You're saying there might be a fight for it? A legal battle?" Gabe nodded, his expression serious. "Exactly. If the estate is divided, your kids could lose out. I don't want that. I need you to understand. I'm here to help. Help or complicate everything even further. The tension in the air rose, thickening like the steam from her cup. Why can't we just leave the past buried? What if this just brings more pain? The thought of undoing the tapestry of their lives felt overwhelming, like pulling at threads that could unravel something beautifully woven. I get that, Gabe replied, his voice softer now. But sometimes facing the truth is the only way to move forward. For all of us. Sarah took a sip of her coffee, its heat grounding her momentarily. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about her children. Their future uncertainty loomed like a shadow behind every decision. Can we trust the others? If there are siblings, how do we know they want to be like Ashley? That's what worries me too. But we need to find them. If they're out there, they have a right to know. And we need to decide what that means for us. Each word dripped with gravity. Sarah felt the weight of her choices piling on, pressing against her chest like a tethered balloon on the verge of bursting. But what if I find out things I wish I hadn't? What if it tears apart what I've tried to build for my kids? Gabe leaned forward, his eyes earnest. The only way we'll know is by taking that leap. You deserve to discover the reality of who Mike was. Your kids deserve that clarity too. The stakes felt higher than ever. The possibility of more family, the hidden truths, they could be treasures or burdens, and Sarah wasn't certain she was ready for either. As they both sat there, silence hanging heavy between them, a deep desperation settled in her heart. What if uncovering the past changed everything she believed to be true? Gabe straightened, his features reflecting both concern and newfound resolve. Are you in, Sarah? Can we search for the truth together? Her heart raced with anxiety and determination. What would this path lead to? Could it truly offer healing, or simply open new wounds? In that moment, she realized the decision lay squarely in her hands. I don't know, Gabe, but I can't ignore this. And as she contemplated the road ahead, her thoughts danced around the potential revelations that awaited her. There was no going back. But would the truth really set her free? Or would it bind her to a past she hadn't anticipated? With that thought echoing in her mind, she could only wonder what secrets lay just beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. The cafe buzzed around them, but Sarah felt entirely removed from the swirling conversations and clinking mugs. It was as if she and Gabe were suspended in a bubble, encased in this moment of revelation. The weight of his words pressed down on her. Half-siblings. More pieces to a puzzle she didn't even know existed. What do we do now? She asked, her voice barely audible. It felt strange to be asking someone else for guidance. I can't just dive into this without knowing what we're getting into. I'll help you, Gabe replied, sincerity etched on his face. We can start searching for the names. Maybe there's a way to approach this without making waves, not yet, at least. She wanted to dismiss his enthusiasm, but felt a tantalizing flicker of hope. It had been so long since she had felt like she had any control over her life. Maybe uncovering the truth would grant her that. The thought sent her heart racing. What if none of this is real? Sarah hesitated. What if it's all just some fantasy based on hearsay? I can't put my family through this kind of upheaval if there's a chance it could all be lies. Gabe's smile faded, replaced by a grim understanding. That's a risk. I want to lie to you. But what if it's true? What if you have siblings out there who want to know you, or want a part of the estate? She countered, her voice rising. God, I can't believe I'm even thinking about this. It's insane. I understand. But maybe it's not just about the estate. It might be about closure, about understanding who your father really was. And maybe it could help you to know how to deal with the feelings you have surrounding him. Her fingers traced the rim of her coffee cup, replaying moments from her past, her father's laughter echoing in her mind. Mike had always been a man of mystery, a constant figure, yet shrouded in secrets. Would knowing more unearth feelings she had buried deep inside? Okay, she said, exhaling slowly. Let us do it. But we need a plan. We have to go slow. Gabe nodded, a hint of relief in his expression. We will. I promise. As they began to talk logistics, outlining steps to take, Sarah's anxiety began to shift towards a mix of excitement and fear. She was stepping into the unknown, with the potential for growth, but also the risk of digging wounds that would remain unhealed. The conversation flowed, and in that busy cafe, moments of laughter slipped in between serious discussions. For the first time in what felt like forever, Sarah felt a spark of something she thought she had lost: rustling curiosity, a flicker of purpose. Eventually, they settled on a strategy, looking through records, possibly reaching out to distant relatives. It was a plan, a way to move forward, but still, a nagging fear wormed its way into her thoughts. What if they were wrong? What if she found siblings who didn't want anything to do with her? Or, worse, what if they were just like Ashley, and the heartbreak continued? As she stood to leave, her mind buzzed with uncertainty. Gabe walked her to her car, the air between them charged, heavier than before, yet oddly comforting too. "Whatever happens, I'm here," he said, his eyes searching hers. There was a strength in his voice, a promise that together they could handle whatever came next. "Thank you," she whispered, feeling the weight of both gratitude and dread as she got in her car. Sarah took a moment to breathe, gripping the steering wheel tightly. What had she just agreed to? The horizon seemed full of infinite possibilities, each one more unpredictable than the last. Could the search for the truth really unravel what she had built, or could it lead to healing she never imagined possible? She had to find out. Just then, her phone buzzed on the passenger seat. A text from her mother lit up the screen. "I need to talk to you about Dad. It's important." And just like that, the weight of her newfound journey collided with the gravity of her past. What would her mother reveal, and how would it intertwine with the secrets Sarah was about to uncover? Sarah sat in her car for a moment, staring at the text as a sense of dread settled in her stomach. What more could her mother say about her father that she didn't already know? 1,000 thoughts swirled in her mind, each one darker than the last. The weight of the recent revelation about possible siblings pressed on her chest, and now this. Was it possible that there was even more to uncover? With a deep breath, she decided to call her mother instead of waiting to be summoned. The familiar unease slithered around her, but she pushed it aside. This was necessary. "Hi, Mom," she said when her mother picked up. "I got your text." "Sarah." Her mother's voice was shaky, and Sarah couldn't tell if it was fear or excitement. "Can you come over? There's something I need to explain." "Sure, I can be there in about 20 minutes, Sarah replied, her heart pounding even more fiercely now. As she navigated the streets towards her childhood home, memories flashed through her mind. The cozy warmth of family dinners, her father's goofy smile, the way her mother used to sing off-key in the kitchen. But as the memories replayed, they felt intertwined with shadows. Secrets she had never noticed began to uncoil in her mind. What really happened after all these years? When she reached her mother's house, Sarah took a quick moment outside to compose herself. She opened the door and immediately felt the familiar scent of vanilla incense mixed with her mother's lilac perfume wafted through the air. "Mom?" she called out. "In the living room. I'm just getting some tea," her mother responded. Sarah made her way to the living room, where her mother sat, her hands wrapped nervously around a mug. The space was filled with family photos, each frame a reminder of a life they shared and the love that seemed to bind them. "Thank you for coming," her mother said, her voice almost quivering. "Of course, but what is going on?" The question was like a tightrope she was afraid to step on. Her mother leaned forward, eyes glistening with unshed tears. "It's about your father and the life we had before everything changed." The truth in those words hung heavy in the air. "What do you mean?" Sarah asked, her breath caught in her throat. "After he passed, I went through some of his things and I discovered a letter," her mother said, swallowing hard. "In it, he acknowledged there were things he had kept hidden, things he meant to tell us. About the family he never spoke of." "Hidden family?" The words felt foreign, like they belonged to someone else's story. "What do you mean?" Her mother hesitated, collecting herself before speaking. "He had children from another relationship, more than one. I didn't know until I found the letter." Each word struck Sarah like a jolt through her veins. Her past clashed with the present, the pieces of her father's life fragmenting in front of her. "More than one?" she echoed, grappling with disbelief. Her mother nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. He wanted to protect you, to protect us from the hurt, but the truth can't stay buried forever, and neither can those children. A feeling of vertigo washed over Sarah, the walls of her childhood home closing in. The secrets were breaking free, sending shockwaves through her heart. What did this mean for her? For Gabe? Just then, her phone buzzed again. It was a message from Gabe. Let us meet. I found something that might help. Her heart raced. Could this be the answer to all her questions? With every revelation, the stakes climbed higher. Sarah now stood on the cusp of something monumental. What would she do next? And how could she navigate this complicated web of family? The clock was ticking, and she felt the weight of a world shifting beneath her feet. But could she handle yet another shock? Sarah's heart raced as she read Gabe's message again, her mind swirling with unanswered questions. It was as if a storm of emotions swirled inside her: confusion, anger, and a flicker of hope. The mention of something that might help felt charged with possibility. What could Gabe have possibly found? Sarah? Her mother's soft voice interrupted her thoughts. She looked up to find her mother watching her intently, still holding that mug as if it were a lifeline. I'm sorry, Mom. I just got a text from Gabe, Sarah said, trying to catch her breath, the weight of the day crashing down even harder now. He says he found something. Her mother's eyes widened, concern etched on her face. Do you trust him? Do you think it could be more complications? With everything happening? I have to find out, Sarah replied, her voice steadying. We need to understand what is going on. Taking a steadying breath, she typed back to Gabe, agreeing to meet at their usual cafe, a familiar place where they shared laughter and secrets over countless cups of coffee. It felt surreal that they'd be discussing something so heavy there, where once they had dreamed of the future. Mom, I'm going to meet Gabe, she announced as she stood. I need to see what he found. I owe it to myself to know the truth. Be careful, her mother whispered. These revelations, they can be so much to untangle. There was a flicker of worry in her voice. I will, Sarah assured her. She stepped out of the house, the cool air hitting her face like a shockwave. She felt the weight of her mother's fears behind her, a silent echo in the stillness of the night. As she drove, every passing streetlight cast fleeting shadows, intensifying the doubts gnawing at her heart. What if this discovery shattered everything she thought she knew about her family? Was she ready to face more siblings, more hidden truths? Each thought magnified her anxiety, but a small voice inside her whispered that she had to know. When she arrived at the cafe, the familiar scent of brewed coffee and baked goods wrapped around her as she entered. Gabe was already seated at a corner table, looking distracted yet determined. His brow was crinkled with an intensity Sarah hadn't seen before, as if he were holding a secret far bigger than either of them could fathom. Hey, she greeted, sliding in her seat. Thanks for coming, he began, his voice low, tense. He pulled out a manila envelope from his bag and slid it across the table. What is this? She asked, her pulse quickening as she reached for it. Evidence. Things that link back to your father and those siblings, Gabe replied, his eyes steady but filled with concern. Her hands trembled slightly as she opened the envelope, revealing documents that looked like a family trail, a tree full of branches she had never known existed. Photos spilled out faces of children who looked eerily familiar. The weight of it all crashed into her with the force of a freight train. Each image was a reminder of the life her father had lived, a life she never knew existed alongside hers. Gabe, this is complicated, he finished for her, his voice soothing but firm. But you deserve to know, Sarah. You can't move forward without understanding your past. Her pulse raced as she stared at the pictures, the scattered truths encircling her like a storm. What have I gotten myself into? She murmured more to herself than to him. Gabe leaned in closer, concern etching his features. Whatever's coming next, I'm with you. We'll face it together. As her heart galloped in her chest, she realized how immense this moment was. She was about to step into a world that could change everything, but also uncover the truth she craved. Just then, her phone buzzed again. It was another message, this one from an unknown number. We need to talk. You're not alone. The ground felt like it was shifting beneath her as the walls of her past closed in, and every instinct screamed that things were about to spiral out of control. Could it be true? Was she really not alone after all? Sarah's hands shook slightly as she stared at the message on her phone. We need to talk. You're not alone. Words echoed in her mind like a haunting refrain. Who was this person? And could it possibly be that she had siblings she didn't know about? As much as a part of her wanted to run from the unknown, a stronger part tugged her forward, hungry for answers. Sarah? Gabe's voice broke her reverie, bringing her back to the crowded cafe, the hum of conversations buzzing around them. She looked up at him, his expression a mixture of impatience and concern. Sorry, she whispered, trying to process everything the photos still scattered before her, the weight of her father's hidden life and the mystery of the text. It's just this message. I don't know who it's from, but they seem to know something. Gabe leaned back slightly, brows knitted. What does it say? She hesitated, her mind racing. Just that I'm not alone. But what does that even mean? Could it be someone else from your father's past? Another child? He speculated, eyes scanning her face for clues. Or worse, someone trying to manipulate me, she replied, a shiver running down her spine. The thought made her stomach twist, and she instinctively glanced at the door again, half expecting someone to walk in and change everything. Gabe's expression softened. Look, you don't have to engage with them if it makes you uncomfortable. We can just focus on this. He gestured at the envelope and figured out from there. No, Sarah said suddenly, determination flooding her veins. I need to know. If there's more to this story, if there are others out there, I can't ignore it. Taking a deep breath, she resolved to respond to the mysterious text. It felt like a risky gamble, but holding back felt like letting fear win. She tapped out a quick reply. Who are you? What do you know? Gabe watched her, concern etched on his features. It could lead to more questions than answers, you know. I'd rather chase the unknown than sit here, feeling powerless, she said firmly, setting her jaw with a mix of resolve and trepidation. The minutes ticked by, and the atmosphere in the cafe buzzed with the comforting sounds of clinking cups and muffled laughter. But Sarah felt trapped in a bubble of uncertainty. Just as she was about to pull her thoughts back together, her phone buzzed again. Her heart raced as she opened a new message. It's about your father. You need to come alone. There is so much to explain. What do you want to do? Gabe asked, his voice low. Was it reckless to consider meeting a stranger about family she hadn't even known existed? But deep down, a part of her craved the chance to confront whatever truth lay ahead. She looked into Gabe's eyes, searching for reassurance. I want to go. What if it's a trap? He pressed, concern lacing his voice. I don't think it is, she replied, a wave of certainty washing over her. I need to know. If there are more siblings, it'll change everything. I have to face it. Gabe hesitated, then nodded. Okay, then I'm with you. Whatever it is, I want to let you go through it alone. As they stood up to leave, the weight of the moment settled over them. The cafe faded behind them, but the looming uncertainty of what awaited felt all too real. Do you think they really know something? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Only one way to find out, Gabe said, determination creeping into his tone. As they stepped into the cool night air, Sarah felt a mixture of fear and excitement. The path ahead was shrouded in fog and doubt, but she understood one thing: seeking the truth always came with risks. With every step, they moved closer to a revelation that could change everything she thought she knew about her family. What answers would she uncover? And would the shadows of the past that haunted her finally see the light? Before she could think too deeply, her phone buzzed yet again. Another message, this time from the same unknown number. You're closer than you think. Just trust. Her breath caught in her throat. What had she just stepped into? The night air felt electric as Sarah and Gabe walked side by side, the streetlights casting a flickering glow on the pavement ahead. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears, matching the rhythm of her quickened breaths. The message loomed in her mind like a beacon, filled with promise and a hint of danger. Just trust. But trust was a luxury she wasn't sure she could afford right now. What if this person really knows something important? She mused aloud, glancing sideways at Gabe. What are her siblings? What would that mean for everything I thought I knew? Gabe looked thoughtful, his brow furrowed. It could mean a lot of things, Sarah. It could change how you view your family, even your past. But it also could mean dealing with people you've never met, people with motives you might not understand. She nodded, the words settling heavily in her chest. This was turning into more than just a simple inquiry. It was evolving into a confrontation with a past she hadn't even known existed. As they approached the designated meeting place, a dimly lit park that felt eerily quiet, her phone buzzed again. Another message. Sarah stopped in her tracks. It's them again, she said, staring at the screen. They want us to meet at the gazebo. Gabe frowned. A gazebo? Why does that sound so creepy? Maybe because it's so open, but also so isolated? I have no idea. But we're already here. Anxiety gripped her, but she pushed through. Let us do this. They made their way to the gazebo, each step heavier than the last. Sarah's mind spun with visions of who she might meet, the brother or sister she never knew existed. Excitement tinged with fear warped her stomach into knots. The world sparkled with a haunting beauty, the leaves rustling softly, but she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As they entered the gazebo, a figure emerged from the shadows. A tall man, his face obscured by the brim of a worn cap. The moment their eyes met, a jolt surged through Sarah, something unexplainable yet intimate. Sarah? He asked, his voice deep yet trembling. I'm Alex. Alex, she echoed, her heart racing. Her mind raced with endless questions. Where had he been all her life? What did he know? Thanks for coming, he continued, shifting uncomfortably. I wouldn't have reached out if it wasn't urgent. I think you deserve to know why you're here. Gabe raised an eyebrow, stepping protectively closer to Sarah. What do you mean? I mean, Alex said, glancing around nervously as if the trees themselves could overhear. Everything you've been told about your father, it's a lie. You had siblings, at least 6 of us. And we need to talk about what that means. His gaze fell to the ground, uncertainty darkening his features. Sarah's breath hitched. 6? This revelation felt like it was rearranging the very foundation of her existence. I don't understand. Why now? Why not before? Your father left things behind, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Things he wanted us to have, things he hid. And someone else threatening to take everything away from us. Fear clawed at her throat. This wasn't just about discovering siblings. It was about inheritance, perhaps loss. As panic threatened to overwhelm her, Sarah focused on the grounded feelings building inside her. What are you saying? Alex took a step closer, intensity igniting his gaze. It's not just about family ties. It's about legacy. We need to figure this out together, or we might all lose everything, including each other. Sarah felt the weight of the world crashing down upon her. This wasn't just an average meeting. They were standing on the precipice of something much bigger, a storm brewing just beyond the horizon. What are you hiding, Alex? She asked, still processing everything. We all have to decide if we can trust each other, he replied, vulnerability flashing in his eyes. Just then, the wind picked up, rustling through the trees, its chilling caress sending shivers down Sarah's spine. Uncertainty settled heavily in the air, and before she could voice her doubts, Alex dropped a final bombshell that changed everything. There's someone else who wants to meet, and they're closer than you think. Her heart sank. What more could she possibly uncover? The shadows of her father's past loomed larger than ever, and so did the profound implications of what lay ahead. The sky hung low with clouds, mirroring the turbulent waves of confusion swirling inside Sarah. As Sarah stared into Alex's eyes, a mix of dread and determination coursed through her. This wasn't just about family secrets anymore. It was about protecting what was hers and the future of her children. What do you mean someone else wants to meet? She pressed, her heart pounding in her chest. Alex shifted nervously, running a hand through his dark hair. It's complicated. There's another sibling who's been looking into things. They know more about your dad-esque world than we do, and they could change everything. Gabe stiffened beside Sarah, tension bubbling under the surface. Why did you reach out to us then? He asked, protective. If this person is a threat, we need to be cautious. I had to because we're running out of time, Alex insisted, his voice lowering. These things can't wait. We'll need to unite. If we don't, the legacy your dad intended for US could vanish in the chaos. A sharp wind swept through the gazebo, causing Sarah to shiver. Thoughts raced through her mind. Could uniting with these siblings be the key to something greater? Or would it further entrap her in a tangle of deceit and strife? But the stakes had never been higher. The prospect of losing everything loomed too large to ignore. Where do we go from here? She asked, her voice steady despite the storm inside. How do we find this other sibling? Alex met her gaze fiercely, determination igniting in his eyes. I've done some digging. I have leads, but this one will take all of us. It won't be easy, and we have to face some people who might not want to see this come to light. They want to keep things buried. The weight of his words settled on Sarah like an iceberg in her gut. But she couldn't walk away. Not now. With each revelation, she felt herself turning the corner from anger to understanding, from distrust to potential connection. The hidden bonds of family slowly revealed themselves as illuminating threads in the dark. Okay, she responded, a new resolve building within her. Let us do this. Let us find out who we are and who we can be together. Gabe caught her eye, an encouraging nod passing between them. Whatever pain lay ahead, they would face it united. And just then, Sarah's phone buzzed again, breaking the moment. A text from an unknown number filled the screen. I know everything. Meet me at the bridge. Midnight. Her heart raced as she processed the words, the gravity of the situation taking over. I'll go, she announced, determination bolstered by adrenaline. I need to see what this person knows. No way. Gabe interrupted, alarm rising in his voice. You can't go alone. It could be a trap. But Sarah could feel the pull of truth beckoning her, an invisible thread woven through the fabric of her being. If we don't uncover this now, we may never get the chance again, she asserted fiercely. She felt the weight of the emotional journey behind her, and new clarity came from confronting fears head-on. Alex stepped forward, compassion blending with urgency in his gaze. You're not alone. If you're going, I'll go with you. We need to stand together. As the weight of the night pressed down around them, Sarah looked toward Gabe. They both swallowed hard, but she could see the support flickering in his eyes through worry. Okay, he relented, but we need to stay alert. No matter what happens, we stick together. They all shared a brief moment of affirmation, and together, they stepped away from the gazebo, moving toward the bridge beneath the cloak of night. The moon hung like a guardian in the sky, casting silvery light to guide them forward. As they approached the bridge, Sarah felt a rush of emotions surfacing: fear, anxiety, hope, and the undeniable surge of courage. Each step resonated with the promise of long-awaited answers, the potential to transform her family's legacy. But alongside that hope, a primal anxiety edged in. What if this meeting unveiled deeper secrets? Could she handle the weight of all that was hidden? As they reached the rendezvous point, shadows shifted in anticipation. The bridge loomed over them like an archway to an uncharted territory. Sarah took a deep breath, grounding herself and readied for what was to come. Just then, they caught sight of another figure emerging from the darkness. With every heartbeat, the tension crackled like electric energy in the air. This was at the moment when everything could change. Stay close, Sarah murmured to Gabe and Alex, as they converged together, united by purpose, ready to confront the truth that awaited them beyond the threshold of uncertainty. As Sarah stepped forward, each heartbeat echoed the clarity of her resolve. Whatever came next, she vowed to navigate the labyrinth of familial ties, secrets, and legacies, illuminating the corners of a past that begged to be understood. On the precipice of consequences and connections, she was ready to face whatever awaited her. Together, they would uncover the hidden tapestry of their shared legacy, reshaping not only their destinies, but perhaps even their hearts. It was time to embrace the unknown. And in that moment, as they stood on the brink of revelation, hope flickered brightly in the night. Join the journey with Sarah as she uncovers family secrets and attempts to create unity amidst chaos. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the conversation alive. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this transformable ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to be inspired by the power of uncovering truth. This is the moment to show your support.